What if I told you that having a super high IQ isn't always the superpower we think it is? That a lot of the time, it doesn't look like this shiny picture of confidence and success, but more like a quiet, kind of confusing struggle. Well, that's exactly what we're going to get into. We're going to use psychology to peel back the layers on the overactive mind.
So here's the game plan. We'll start with something called the intelligence paradox. Then we're going to take a look inside the overactive mind itself. After that, we'll explore why it can feel so out of sync with the world. And finally, we'll wrap it all up by reframing this whole experience as something, well, deeper, not just easier. All right, let's jump right in. Section 1, the intelligence paradox. This is all about why our popular ideas about genius, well, they've got it all wrong. And this right here is the central conflict, isn't it? The popular myth we're all sold is that a high IQ is like a golden ticket to success and just unbreakable confidence. But what psychology actually tells us is a totally different story. For many, it's a quiet, confusing, and deeply personal struggle that most people just don't see. So, what does that internal struggle actually feel like? What's going on in there? That's what Section 2 is all about. We're going to explore the internal landscape, the cognitive and emotional world of the overactive mind. And a lot of the time it starts right here with chronic overthinking. Now, this isn't just, worrying about things. It's an actual cognitive feature. The research shows that high IQ minds are kind of wired to process way more variables at the same time. The result? This constant hum of mental activity, this deep analysis that makes it really, really hard to just switch off. And this quote just nails it, doesn't it? The brain doesn't rest easily because it's always searching for patterns, consequences, and deeper meaning. It's like an engine that's always on, constantly scanning for connections. And that, as you can imagine, can be incredibly exhausting. Now, this constant processing doesn't just apply to ideas, it applies to feelings too. And this leads to another huge misunderstanding. We're often taught that having really intense emotions is some kind of weakness. But that's not what the psychology says. It's not weakness at all. It's emotional complexity. A higher intelligence is linked to processing emotions more deeply, more thoroughly. You feel things in a big way because you're analyzing them in a big way, which creates this incredibly rich, but sometimes pretty overwhelming, emotional world. And here's a real paradox for you. You think that knowing more would make you more confident, right? But for many, it's the exact opposite. A high IQ often comes with this super sharp awareness of just how much you don't know. There's a term for it in psychology, intellectual humility, and it can fuel this really profound, nagging sense of self-doubt. Okay, so that's the internal world. But how does all of this play out when it interacts with, well, everyone and everything else? That's what Section 3 is about. That constant feeling of being just a little bit out of sync with the world around you. So many highly intelligent people have this worry that they come across as arrogant or impatient, but the psychology behind it suggests something else entirely. It's usually not a personality flaw. It's just a difference in cognitive pacing. Your brain gets to the finish line faster, and having to wait for everyone else can be, well, it's honestly frustrating. And that feeling connects directly to this, a real sensitivity to inconsistency. Because the mind is so good at spotting patterns, it gets seriously thrown off by things that don't make sense. Illogical arguments, inefficient systems, people saying one thing and doing another. It's not just annoying, it can be incredibly jarring, causing major frustration at work or even in personal relationships. Then there's the constant uphill battle against boredom. This kind of mind doesn't find comfort in routine. In fact, routine tasks can cause real mental fatigue. It means new things, complex problems, and challenging ideas to stay engaged. So a repetitive environment, it can feel less like a job and more like a cognitive prison. So you take all of these things together, and what do you get? A pretty profound sense of loneliness. As this quote says, when your thoughts are layered, nuanced, and difficult to translate into simple language, it's tough. It's so hard to feel truly seen and understood. And that can create this deep feeling of isolation, even when you're in a room full of people. So where does that leave us? How do we make sense of all this? In our final section, we're going to pull it all together and reframe these struggles, not as problems that need to be fixed, but as signs of something much deeper. And this right here is the central idea. We have to completely ditch the notion that being smarter makes life easier. It just doesn't. It makes life deeper. It makes it heavier. And it adds a layer of complexity to everything that most people might not even notice.
And this might be the most powerful takeaway of all. The overthinking, the emotional intensity, the self-doubt, these aren't bugs in your mental software. They're not flaws you need to fix. They are the natural byproducts of a mind that's designed for depth and complexity. It's part of the package. So, I want to leave you with a question to chew on. If these struggles aren't flaws, if we stop seeing them as problems, what do they start to reveal about the incredible power of your mind?